Hello. I am reading the Book of Mormon and sorting everyone into their own Hogwarts house. But first, I wanted to cover 1 Nephi 10. Lehi is basically talking about how Jerusalem gets destroyed. So first, we're going to need to do a little history lesson. Assyria had taken over, okay? They were taking over all of this land in the Middle East. If you are familiar with the stock market, every stock company has what's called a stock ticker, which is just a shortened version of the company's name. For Assyria, we will shorten this word. That's unfortunate. Every out of Y. That's worse. Okay, ass. It's a donkey. Now this is Assyria's stock chart. Now Assyria started out really powerful. Boom, boom, boom. But guess what? What happens when owners come in and buy out a new company and they treat all the employees horribly? They revolt. This is going to be Babylon. And for stock tickers, you always put the $ before the acronym. Babylon, baby. So Babylon, Assyria takes over Babylon. So guess what? The stock price goes down. The people start revolting, right? They don't like how Assyria is treating them. They're being jerks, if I'm being honest. Assyria gets its downfall. Babylon rises. I want to short the stock. There could be a lot of insider trading if you knew this was going to happen. So the way that this map works, if you look at the Middle East, there is what they call a fertile crescent. And it's basically a path along a bunch of water at the top of the Middle East, and that's where all the trade routes are. So Babylon started taking over all of those trade routes. It kind of looks like this along the top of the Middle East. Babylon is going this way and taking over, and Jerusalem is like right here. And Jerusalem doesn't realize it, but they're going to be in the way of this bulldoze. Nephi is going from Jerusalem this way. It's like a yin and yang. He's going the opposite way. So Babylon's going this way, Nephi's going this way. And that's how he escapes Babylon taking over Jerusalem and Jerusalem getting destroyed. So they're just wanting to taste the rainbow here. Lehi mentions basically, I think it's John the Baptist. Right now, like the most tippy top of the hierarchy, I think, is like prophets are at the top. Lehi's trying to say, no, look. John the Baptist is going to point out that there is someone above that, Jesus, the Messiah. And John the Baptist will say about this Jesus, he is mightier than I, whose shoe latchet I am not worthy to unloose. And I read that and I was like, okay, you're not worthy to undo his shoe, okay. There were like servant jobs back then where it was the lowest of the low is a job where you get to undo someone's shoe at the end of the day. And I think people's feet were so freaking dirty back then. You're walking in like cow dung or like donkey dung. Your feet are probably disgusting. And feet can be gross. Like what if they have ingrown toenails or like fungus? I don't even know if they had antibiotics back then. And John the Baptist basically said, I'm not even worthy to do that. And then I read about the Gentiles and I was like, what is a Gentile? What Jew and Gentile? What? Like that is thrown around so much in the church. What does it mean? What is a Jew? Basically anyone from Judah. Abraham, who had a kid named Isaac, who had a kid named Jacob. Now Jacob, he got a new name. His new name is Israel. I'm not sure if this is like witness protection or what. And guess what? What did Israel have? How many kids? Remember, God works in 12s and 3s. Yes, 12 kids. So 12 tribes of Israel. Ring a bell? Let's just pretend Israel is shaped like a chocolate bar. They split into two parts. There's the north and the south. The north contained 10 out of the 12 tribes of Israel. When Assyria started taking over, they took over this northern part. So this don't exist anymore, it's Assyria's. Now the south contains, how many are left? The last 2 out of the 12 tribes of Israel. Judah and Benjamin, and then like, I think some extra people. Let's just call it Judah, because I think that's what people refer to it as. Jews are anyone from Judah. Jerusalem's like the center of Judah. Jews and Gentiles, 2 separate things. Everyone knows this analogy, but I'll just explain it. Basically, you've got an olive tree, and I think with olive trees, you can cut branches off certain olive trees and literally graft it into other trees, like tie it up, and eventually it forms into that tree. It's basically like adoption for trees. They adopt a branch as part of their family. Jews are the people of Judah. The Gentiles are literally everyone else. If you think of it as in a bloodline, the Jews are the people that came from literal Judah. So you've got one bloodline, the Jews, and then you've got literally everyone else. Now Lehi basically prophesied and said that these Jews, the Jews will be scattered among the Gentiles, which is just everyone else is not a Jew. And after the Gentiles, everyone else receives the fullness of the gospel, they will come back in and be grafted in or adopted into the house of Israel or the Jews. Being grafted is just like being adopted, essentially, for simplicity's sake. I, at this time, could not stop listening to the Lion King soundtrack. I was like, this soundtrack is so good. It clicked. I was like, oh my gosh. This is like the Jews and the Gentiles. You got Simba, right? He bolts out of his land. He gets scattered, right? He gets scattered, like the Jews get scattered. Who does he get scattered among? Timon and Pumbaa. They are the Gentiles. He gets scattered among them. And then what happens? Simba goes back to Pride Rock to be who he was meant to be. Remember who you are. Simba remembered who he was. And who did he take with him? The Gentiles, Timon and Pumbaa. And what were they? They were grafted in. They were adopted into that family. No one ever said, go back to where you came from. Everyone accepted Timon and Pumbaa. They are part of that family. They're part of that family. They got adopted in. So it's just like the Lion King, guys. It's so easy. Everyone is Timon and Pumbaa, and then you get grafted into that Pride Rock family. One verse I loved that reminded me of the Lion King was 1 Nephi 10:19. It says, the course of the Lord is one eternal round, which is like what? Azabenya, the circle of life. It's a circle of life, y'all. It's one eternal round. It's a circle of life, people. It's a circle of life. The Lion King is so spiritual if you really think about it. The Jews are essentially God's covenant people. They have a relationship with God, essentially. And then those Gentiles being grafted in are becoming part of that covenant people. Sounds a lot like the temple, what we do in there. Now, something fun I wanted to add is I also couldn't stop listening to the song Us by Gracie Abrams featuring Taylor Swift. It reminded me so much of this chapter. And this song basically reminded me also of like God's covenant relationship with his people and his covenant relationship with the Jews, and they were making God sad. The first paragraph of this song is, I know you know, it felt just like a joke. I show, you don't. This is basically, could be seen as God being like, I know you think these covenants are a joke, but like, I'm here, I'm taking this seriously. This is really sad that you think this is a joke and you're not taking this seriously. The next line is, I know your ghost. I see her through the smoke. This could be seen as us becoming ghosts to God when we're not staying close to him and keeping our covenants, and we're just becoming so distant from him that it's foggy and almost seems like we are just ghosts that are so far away. And here is a line I love that perfectly describes Babylon and the Jews and Jerusalem. And if history's clear, someone always ends up in ruins. Assyria, and then Babylon, someone always ends up in ruins. It is a cycle. Next line, and what seemed like fate becomes, what the heck was I doing? People think these things are meant to be. They're having fun. They're worshiping idols. This is so great. And then they're like, wait, what was I doing? That was a fugue state. That wasn't me. I'm going to post a picture of these gardens of Babylon. They are so beautiful. If you listen to this song while looking at these photos, it creates such a vibe, I swear. The next line is, Babylon lovers hanging lifetimes on a vine. Vines are weak. What do you mean you're hanging lifetimes on that? You should be hanging your lifetimes on olive branches. Hello? Then it's the chorus. Do you miss us? This is like God being like, don't you miss us? Don't you miss our relationship? Come back. Come back to me. The next line is, it felt like something holy, like souls bleeding so. So how can you be cold when I open my home? The Lord has opened his home. He has built temples for us, and he keeps building more temples to make temples more accessible to us. How can you be cold to him when he has opened up his home and said, I've given you a little piece of heaven right here on this earth? How can you be so cold? And another line referencing Babylon, and if history's clear, the flames always end up in ashes. Ooh. And what seemed like fate, give it 10 months and you'll be past it. Ooh, burn. That could be the Lord being like, yeah, I thought this was meant to be. You took out your covenants, give it 10 months and you are over it. Babylon lovers hanging missed calls on the line. Oh, I love that. We are missing God's calls on those gardens of Babylon. Oh, I gave you mine. Do you miss us? Then it goes into the bridge, which is a fantastic bridge. I love this bridge. That night you were talking, false prophets and prophets. They make in the margins of poetry sonnets. You never read up on it. Shame, could have learned something. Okay, let's break that down. That night you were talking false prophets. There are so many false prophets back then. I mean, Lehi was getting... And Jeremiah, he was in jail. Like, there's so much corruption here. And it says false prophets and prophets. These false prophets were probably making money off of the messages they were sending. They were telling everybody what they wanted to hear. They're probably paying so much money to hear all that. Everyone loves hearing what they want to hear. It's comfortable. No one likes being uncomfortable. And prophets they make in the margins of poetry sonnets. They've probably got these beautiful written out scripts that seem so well, but they're making money. And then these false prophets are making money off the things they're saying. And it is so corrupt. The next line, you never read up on it. Shame, could have learned something. This is like God saying, wow, you took out your covenants. You're not even trying to learn more about them. You never read up on it. You really could have learned a lot here. You took out your endowments. You don't even care. You don't even care. This is such a shame. A curse or a miracle? Hearse or an oracle? A lot of these Jews probably saw Jerusalem being destroyed as this curse. Oh, we've been cursed. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, we are never coming back from this. Oh, this is so depressing. And they were probably so depressed. But it's actually a miracle. It's a miracle that they were all able to come back. They were able to come back, and it's the land of their inheritance that they get. The pain of, the reign of, the flame of us. I think people don't realize that God does have his feelings hurt. He gets sad all the time when we sin and don't want to repent, when we neglect the most important things on this world. It's painful for him. I think people see him as this almighty ruler who doesn't care and he's vengeful. He gets sad every day about the things that we do. The pain of, the reign of. We go to the temple to be royalty. We do. We reign with God. The flame of us. This was just something fun that I did. I really liked 1 Nephi 10. I feel like I could study this for years. There is so much information in here, but I really wanted to clear up. I was so confused who Jews and Gentiles were, and I hope it makes a little bit more sense to you after studying this. It made a little bit more sense to me. It made the temple make more sense to me, and that is 1 Nephi 10. One thing I want to add, the scripture 1 Nephi 10:18 really stuck out to me. It says, for he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is unchanging. God's not going to change his mind on you. He's the most secure relationship you will be in. And I just really love that, and it stuck out to me, and I just wanted to share that.